Hey, Hugh from ClickFunnels support here. So in this video, I'm just going to go over how you can add additional form fields to an existing form on your page. So right now, we have the most basic form that you can create. So we have a button set to submit page. Now, anytime you want to submit information or collect information, the button does need to be set to submit form. By default, that's going to take us through to the next step in the funnel. If you ever want to change that behavior though, you can go into settings, general, on submit go to and paste in any URL that you want here, and that will override the default behavior, and instead of taking them to the next step in the funnel, it will take them to whatever link you place here. In addition to that, every form needs to include an email address, because the email address is the unique identifier we use to tie information to a specific contact's profile. From here, we can build out a form to include as much information as we'd like. So we'll add a new element. We'll click on form, and first we'll add an additional input element. We can click on it, or we can hover over and click on the settings icon to get into the settings for it. We can choose from one of the predefined options here, like first name for example. Or we can add an additional input element, and we can set that to custom. Anytime you're using a custom form field, you need to make sure that you give it a name, and you can only include letters, numbers, and spaces, so no punctuation or special characters. For each form field, you can adjust the placeholder text. You can choose whether or not you want to mark it as required. If it's marked as required, they will need to put something into that form field in order for the form to submit in the background. We can change the default text that we want to use. We can adjust the font size. And if we want, we can also adjust the font size for mobile independently. There's a couple other kinds of form fields that we can use as well. The next being the select box. This will give them a drop-down menu. There are a few predefined options here: all countries, all United States, all Canadian provinces, US and Canada, or we can choose the custom option. These ones will be pre-populated. If we choose the custom option though, we again need to give it a name, remembering to only use letters, numbers, and spaces, no punctuation or special characters. Then we can choose a value and a text. The value is what's actually going to be stored inside of the account. The text is what the user is going to see and be able to select from. We can add as many additional options as we'd like. And if you want, it's fine to put the value and the text to the same value. In some situations though, you may want to allow them to choose from a longer option. However, you're really only interested in storing a small value. Going down, again, we can mark it as whether or not we want it required. We can choose a font family, and we can adjust the font size. Finally, we can choose a text area. This is very similar to the input form, but it provides a larger space for them to type out longer answers. For this one, we will have to choose custom type. We will need to make sure that we give it a name. We can adjust the placeholder text. We can choose whether or not we want to set it as required. We can choose a font family, and we can adjust the font size. So hopefully this clears up things a little bit in terms of how you can add additional form fields to an existing form on your page. If you do have some more questions though, or anything like that, definitely go ahead and let us know in support chat.